So my name is Walter A. Davis III. I work in undergraduate studies in the Student Service Building. My role is Academic Advisor 2. I started at USF in 2021 of September, so a little over 3 years, going on 4 years. I left Southern Illinois University Carbondale. I was academic advisor there for 12 and a half years. But it's always been a dream to come back to Florida and just, live the Florida life, the warm weather, and get out of the cold. And so in 2021, I was able to get the opportunity to work at USF in undergraduate studies. So I'm an academic advisor where I work with post-traditional students, students who started school but had to leave for some, reason. Could be personal reasons, could be, health related, could be all kind of different factors, financial. But somewhere down the line, they want to come back and finish their degree. So Bachelor of General Studies helps students finish their degree and get their education and everything like that. So, and then I also work with continuous students who may be in a department and have access hours and they can't finish in their department. And so then they come to our department, BGS or BSAS, and we help them finish their degree. Students come to us all the time trying to graduate. I had a student who had left school, been out of school for probably like 8 or 9 years, but decided they wanted to come back. And so they came back. We created an academic plan that fit their work life and schedule and family life. And they wound up graduating. So, those are the stories that, are exciting when you can help students create a plan and then watch them, matriculate that plan through college and then all the way up until graduation. And sometimes I go to graduations and see them at graduation and they are so excited. So it makes me, feel fulfilled. So I wanted to be a social studies teacher. When I graduated from high school, I didn't really feel confident enough to feel like I could compete in college or go to college. In high school, I was placed in like a behavior type of class where like all the black students were placed in, and so they separated us from the white students. So I just felt like if I go to college, I didn't have the confidence to compete in college. So I just decided to work, just get odd jobs. I worked at McDonald's, I worked at hotels, housekeeping. But my last job I worked at Pepsi, and there was 3 older gentlemen basically was telling me that I should go back and get my education. Like they didn't want me to wind up in a factory like they were their whole lives. And so I decided to, give that a try. So I applied to the University of SIU and got denied because of my grades. So I went to a community college and got accepted. And so when I got my associates from my community college and then transferred to SIU, Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, I wanted to be a social studies teacher. But you had to pass the basic skills test is what it was called back then. And so I would do good on it except for the math. And so I was taking classes trying to pass the math, but it got to a point where I was running out of credits to take for that test. And so I just basically decided to be like, hey, what else could I major in? And so I wound up majoring in recreation sports and got my degree in recreation sports and got a job as a program coordinator for youth at a park district. And so what wound up happening is the director resigned and the guy that hired me they wanted him to take his position, but you had to have a master's degree, which he didn't have. The director was making like 80,000. He was only making like 40,000. But they wanted to move him up, but he didn't have a master's. And so when I seen that, it was like, let me go back and get my master's, because I never want to be in a position where I can move up $30,000 based upon, a piece of paper, a degree. And so I went back to school and got my master's in workforce education and development, and did a grad assistantship at a program called Center for Academic Success, which is like at-risk college students coming into college. And so my director at the time, Seymour Bryson, gave me my first opportunity to sit in with an advisor and monitor them to see how advising goes. And that's how I got into advising. And so I've been advising going on 15 years now. I try to give my students confidence, because I realized when I started school, I didn't have a lot of confidence at first. And so I take a lot of my experiences that I felt going to college that kind of gave me an anxiety, kind of gave me fear of not having that confidence. And so I take a lot of those experiences and I share it with my students, letting them know that you are going to have some fears, you are going to have some, trials, you are going to have some up days and bad days. But with confidence and, believing in yourself and trusting in yourself that you can do it, then you can succeed. My mom always told me, whatever you put your mind to, that you can do. I always use a 6 and 9 rule. So if I draw a 6 on my side, students typically will see a 9. So I'm always trying to look at it from their side and come on their perspective to see, why the anxiety it is that they're having. It could be classes, it could be, sometimes their personal life, it could be all kind of different factors that go into that anxiety. And so I try to, give them a calmness and a peace to find that confidence within themselves. And by the time they leave my office, or by the time I've advised them for a year or two, to be able to go to their graduation and see them graduate and say, thank you, Mr. Davis, for helping me. I didn't think I was going to make it. It brings me joy to see I was a part of that. Okay. Yeah, so my journey after I started working as an academic advisor, higher ed can be kind of stressful sometimes. And, I was taking care of a family and, married, and all kind of different stresses was starting to affect, taking a toll on my health. Therapy and, in the Black community is not a big thing to, get a therapist and talk to a therapist. So I was just basically trying to handle things on my own in a spiritual way, but it was still taking a toll on me. And so I started stress eating, which I found out after I started losing weight that that's what I was doing. Eating was like a coping mechanism to deal with my stress. But then at the same time, I started gaining a lot of weight. My blood pressure was really high. And then there was an instance where my vision got blurred and I didn't know exactly like what that was about. And so I went to the ER, to the doctor, and they basically did like some blood work, and my blood level was like, blood sugar was at like 590. And my doctor was like, I could have went into like a diabetic coma and actually died. And so he basically gave me some things that I needed to do, was like, start exercising, watching what I eat, change my diet and different things like that. So in May 2016, I got a gym membership and I just started like doing cardio, just started walking and different things like that. Started watching what I eat, and I lost 120 pounds. I went from like 298 to like 185. And so after I went to my annual checkup the following year, all of my A1C levels were down. They were at a 10, but now they were at like a 4.7. My blood pressure was normal. And so I wanted to continue the lifestyle and making sure I stay healthy and different things like that. And so I decided that I wanted to write a book and share my story about my challenges and overcoming my weight loss and stress, being a Black father and different things like that. So I decided to write a book. I wrote a book called Will the Real You Stand Up? Because I wasn't allowing the real me to be me. I was, doing, comparing my life to everybody else, trying to do things for everybody else, but I wasn't happy and loving myself. So I'm hoping readers be inspired, and after they read the book, it motivates them and helps them look, at a deeper sense of themselves, and also realize that if I can do it, they can do it. In the book, it talks about an acronym called WIN, and I break down WIN and what is your why. Like, why do you want to do what you do? Like, what is your purpose? And then trying to find that and fulfill that. And then in the middle of WIN is I. It's up to you. Every day we wake up, we either tell ourselves something good or we tell ourselves something bad. We can either be our best fan, or we can be our worst critic. And so it's important that when we get up every day, being in the middle of WIN, that we tell ourselves that we're gonna win today. And so then in WIN means no. Sometimes I had to learn that I can't do everything for everybody. And so sometimes I have to put me first, besides putting everybody else first. So I had to say, no, sometimes, which is not a good thing that some people take because they don't want to hear no, but it exposes like who really supports you, who's really your friend, who's really on your side, when you can tell somebody no and they understand that what you are going through and it's okay. I would really want people to see that it's a journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, but it's about being healthy. It's about spiritual health. It's about mental health. It's about emotional health. It's about social health. And most important, it's about your physical health as well. We are the Institute on Black Life.